What's going on, movie fans? My name is Michael Weer. I love talking about movies, even the controversial ones, which is what we're about to do here today with the Book of Clarence. Now, the Book of Clarence is a movie that I saw at my local AMC theaters under the banner of AMC Screen Unseen. And the AMC Screen Unseen, for those of you who aren't aware, is once a month AMC Theaters puts out a movie that has not yet released in theaters. You only have to pay $5 to get into that movie, but they don't tell you what you're seeing until right before it plays. And there's something fun about that as a movie fan, and so I haven't been able to do any of them yet because usually they're like right in the middle of the work week, but I was off this past week, and so I went and saw the AMC Screen Unseen, and it was the Book of Clarence. So we are going to get into that. We are going to talk about the Book of Clarence in this review, but before that, I do want to say that if you have had the chance to check out the Book of Clarence and you've got thoughts and you've got comments, throw those in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about it, where we agree or disagree. And finally, if this is the first time you're finding my channel, I would love for you to subscribe, check out the different content I have on my channel. If you like movie reviews, Blu-ray talk, I've got a ton of Blu-rays back there, or just series reviews or list rank videos, because I've got a ton of those on my channel as well, well, you might find something for you, and I'd love for you to subscribe and be part of the comment section on those videos as well. With all that said, let's get into the Book of Clarence movie review.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Jesus of Nazareth.
I'm a God, so when you see me, say hallelujah.
I'm destined to be here.
Hallelujah, baby.
And so, guys, the Book of Clarence is directed by James Samuel. It stars Lakeith Stanfield, and he plays the title character of Clarence, who is the twin brother to Thomas, one of the 12 apostles following Jesus Christ. So this movie revolves around the biblical times of when Jesus was alive, and mostly toward the end of his life. So if you know the Bible at all, that means that he's already performed a ton of miracles. He has his 12 apostles, he has all of his followers, and he is sort of heading toward the direction of the cross, again, as far as the biblical story of Jesus is concerned. And so at the same time, now they've thrown in Clarence to the mix, and this is sort of Clarence's story. Like I said, he's the twin brother of one of the apostles. He's one of the people that didn't go follow Jesus when he had the chance, and so he has become this like super non-believer. He's also always getting into trouble, and currently when this movie starts, he owes a very powerful gangster a lot of money, and so his scheme to get rich quick is to become the next Messiah. And that is where I think the controversy is going to start playing into this movie, because I think that like ultra religious people are not going to appreciate some of the stuff that he does in this movie. But again, he becomes the next Messiah, and he says that knowing is better than belief, and of course Jesus is teaching belief and faith, so he's sort of teaching the opposite. He also sets up different scams where he pretends to do miracles, or he has his friends pretend to be blind, and then all of a sudden they aren't blind, or he has his friends pretend they can not walk, and all of a sudden they can walk. You get the idea. So he's performing these fake miracles as he goes, and he's making a lot of money while he's doing it. But not only has he gotten a bunch of followers and raised the money that he needs to pay the gangster back, but now he also has the attention of the Romans, and more importantly, the Romans that were going to put Jesus to death for being the Messiah. So he has several people not happy with him in this movie. And that's the best synopsis I can give you. If that sounds like a fun time, it's playing in theaters on January 12th, and you should go check it out. Otherwise, it'll be streaming at some point as well, I'm sure. With all that said, though, let's get into my positives and some of my negatives. First positive I have for this movie has to be the acting. I loved seeing Lakeith Stanfield again. I saw him in the Haunted Mansion movie last year. It's where he really was put on the map for me. I think his acting is great, and he does a good job in this movie as playing dual roles, because again, his twin brother is Thomas. So you see him as Thomas the Apostle, but you also see him as a non-believer in Clarence going through his story. And so it's cool to kind of see both sides of things. Again, I think he's a great actor, and I can't wait to see what he does next. The only other two people to mention, in my opinion, in this movie, while I think everybody did a good job acting in this movie, you have to bring up James McAvoy, because he shows up as, I don't know if he's Pontius Pilate. Maybe he is. That's the person who condemned Jesus to death. I'm not 100% sure if that's what his role is in this movie. I don't know if I heard that, or I've seen it once, so maybe. But the point is, he is that Roman that is in charge of sentencing people to death. And so he comes into this movie more toward the last act, but he brings it. When he comes in, it's like the movie's taken to the next level. Loved seeing what James McAvoy did. And the other person to mention is Benedict Cumberbatch, who has a spoilery sort of thing that he does, so I don't want to get into his character too much. He's not in the movie hardly at all. So if you're a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan, I don't think that you will appreciate how little he is utilized in this movie, but it is played for laughs, and I think he does a good job as well. My other positive for this movie has to be the set and sound design of the biblical portion of the movie, mixed with sort of a pop culture of today portion of the movie that they mash together. I feel like that's done really, really well. What I mean by that is, in my mind, when I think about a biblical epic movie, I think of Ten Commandments, or I think of King of Kings, and those movies have this look to them. They have this sound to them in the soundtrack for these movies, and this movie has that. But it also has some rap songs that are mixed into it. It also has people giving each other high fives, making references to things that maybe are said today that weren't said back then. And so I like that sort of biblical and pop culture mixture. For me, it works. It reminded me of Tarantino whenever he mixes a Western with pop culture like he does in Django. I really liked how he was able to mix sort of the Western style of movie making with today's pop culture references or music and push those together. And that's what this felt like. So for me, that was very enjoyable in the theater. So I wanted to throw it in the positives. For my negatives, guys, I really only have one, and it's kind of, I'm not sure who this movie was made for. What I mean by that is that I think that deeply religious people are going to be offended by some things that happen in the third act of this movie. And I think non-religious people are going to be offended by some things that happen in the third act of this movie. And so while I get what the filmmaker was going for, I get what they were sort of poking fun at both sides the entire way. When you get to the end, it just feels like sort of a jumbled, we don't want to offend anybody. So you can sort of pick your own destiny with this movie. You can either go with the characters how they went this way, or you can go with the characters how they went this way. But in the end, I don't think it has a very satisfying ending. It's a good first two acts. And again, I like the blend of the biblical times plus pop culture references or songs that are thrown into this movie. I thought that blend worked really well. But overall, for me, it's just a movie that's a definition of one watch. Like, I watched this once in theaters, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'll put that on the list. I'll probably talk about it at the end of the year. But it's not very exciting. It's not a movie I would say rush out and go see it. It's a movie I'd say if it's streaming and you're not a person that gets offended easily, then maybe check this movie out on streaming. But otherwise, I don't really see a reason to rewatch, and I don't see a reason to talk about it the rest of the year. But those are just my opinions, because that's my review for the Book of Clarence. Once again, I'll ask, guys, have you seen the Book of Clarence? If you have, throw those comments in the comment section down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me, where we align or we don't align on things that I talked about in this review. And finally, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, because it helps the video, it helps the channel, and it helps me right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. All right, guys, so we got to the end of the Book of Clarence movie review. And yeah, I think this is going to be controversial. I think people are going to be upset in the comment section either way. I still have people upset in the comment section on my Nefarious review from last year. And that movie was way less religious than this movie was. So I guess we'll see what happens in the comment section. I am curious to see what you guys think. With that said, though, guys, I will go ahead and put my 2023 movie review playlist right there. And if you are someone who enjoys watching someone talk about their Blu-ray collection, well, I'll put all of my Blu-ray collection updates right there.